What's going on, everyone? So, this upcoming Scream 7 will be centered and focused on Sidney Prescott once again. And with that, we should be able to get a look into her family life, right? She has daughters, she has a husband, right? This is new territory for us and Sidney fans, new territory for Scream, period. And I really hope we get and take the time to properly kind of digest what is happening with Sidney in her life, right? Because this is exciting, right? Like, Sydney never, whoever thought that she'd have children and a husband and all that stuff, given her past. And, could she even have children? I mean, think how many times she was just like brutally attacked and stabbed and all that stuff. So the fact that she has a family, she has daughters, and she has all this stuff, I do think makes for quite the interesting elements for a Scream movie, right? We've never had a Scream movie where it was so family connected, so family oriented, right? Like there's always been tie-ins to family. Obviously, it all started with Maureen Prescott and stuff, and like Scream 3 with her, meeting or not meeting, but seeing the ghost of Maureen, and you have like revenge elements from like parents, right? Because their child was a killer, and so like there's a lot of like bloodlines and family ties and connections, but not to this extent, right? Like this is an opportunity where we actually have, Sydney and her family. Sydney's no longer responsible for just her, she's responsible for her family too. And that's a really interesting dynamic that I think will be fun to kind of see how it all plays out, how it all unfolds. But with that, and assuming that we do get some expectations into her life and her personal life, and how is she as a mother, how is she as a husband, right? Is she a little guarded? Is she a little helicopter parent? Is she a little abrasive or overprotective or anything like that? How is her husband, right? Like all of these things. How are her children? With that, though, she needs to have a place to live. She needs to have a place to stay, right? Well, we got news and little set photos. Now, can't always take the stuff with a grain of salt because we don't have confirmation until we actually see the movie. But Sydney's house, the White House, which I'll show you the pictures in a moment, the White House is right when you enter the cul-de-sac. It's only house that's hidden with a long driveway. Something to keep in mind. Jessica and Lucas, Anna and Asa, don't live directly behind Sydney. They live 2 to 3 houses down in this brown house. So again, here are the houses. So this first is expected to be Sydney's house. So it's this white, at home, looks like the White House. Got the American flag out on the thing. I mean, it's Indiana, right? So, and then you have this long driveway with the cul-de-sac and all that. So, this is something that should be very interesting. This is something that should be, it'll be fun to kind of see like her family life. Like I mentioned, right? Like how is she? We get the not the white picket fence, but we get the white picket house, right? And we get to kind of get a glimpse into her world, into her life, right? Also, I want to mention this house is ballin'. I don't know what the medium housing price is in Indiana. I imagine it's probably cheaper than other areas, like a New York or L.A. or something like that. But this house looks pretty massive, right? Pretty ballin'. I also imagine that she probably has all kinds of like booby traps and setups, right? You got to think she's prepared. I mean, think how many times she's been attacked by Ghostface, right? There's got to be a scenario where she's expecting a Ghostface to show up, kind of like how Laurie and Halloween had like preparations and like panic room and all that stuff. Like I could definitely see something like that with Sydney, right? Where she has like little things kind of hidden all over the place, maybe guns hidden all over the place, to be able to protect her family. See something along those lines. But regardless, right? Long driveway. I'm sure that it's gated and stuff, right? So there's probably layers of protection. Curious as to like why the long drive. Is it so like she can see people come up or whatnot? Like maybe she has cameras all over the property. Which, like I said, you imagine she's protected. And judging by this house, I mean, kid, she's probably got money. And it would make sense that she'd have money. I've talked about this in the past, right? Like, you gotta think, she went on a book tour. Probably made a bunch of money on a book tour. The stab films, all that stuff, using her as like the story. I know she, sued him to stop it and all that stuff. And that's kind of the whole like, oh, stab has never been the same type thing. But she's probably made a pretty penny, and not just that, her story and all that stuff. Gotta remember, she is like big time celebrity in the world of Scream, right? She is like, as A-list as it gets in the world of Scream. So I imagine she was getting paid for interviews and all kinds of stuff. And so, it would make sense that she's probably got a bag, right? She's probably got a nice little bag that she can, nice little nest egg. And plus, I'm sure she has a job and Mark has a job and all that stuff. So I'm sure that they're, making a nice little living for themselves. But as far as the other house, this is the Brown house. So again, kind of looks like, a nice kind of upscale, higher end area. I've never been to Indiana, so I don't really know like how all the housing looks and which areas are kind of upper class, which areas are middle class, which areas are kind of lower class, right? Like I don't know what any of those details, but judging by the houses, I mean, they're pretty good sized houses, right? So I imagine that she's in a more upper to middle class type, maybe upper middle class type of community or something. I imagine it's safe. Probably have like security guards or something like that. Who knows? But this is supposed to be her neighbor. That's like her friend, and like the son, the kid is like a little weird, kind of the Jeffrey Dahmer vibes was what it was classified as. So again, nice little details, nice little touches. Starting to get these like little set leaks. There we go. Words are hard. But to kind of start to get into the nitty gritty of it all. But like I said, I really hope we get details on Sidney and her relationship and her motherhood and, the children and Mark and all that stuff. I really hope it's not something that they just kind of pick up, don't really touch on. Because I do. I really am excited and curious to see how do they portray this. How is this about? I mean, that was like a real kind of like bombshell that they dropped on us in Scream 5. Like, where she, how I was marking the kids. It was like, whoa, wait, what are you marking the kids? What are you babysitting? Like, what happened here? Hang on, time out. And then it's like, oh no, she has kids. It's like, oh, okay. So I am excited to see how they kind of portray that and lean into that a little bit here. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion. Pass question you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Are you excited? You excited to see how this plays out with Sidney Prescott and just her family life? Are you like me where you're like, yeah, we need to get details. We need to kind of learn all the little nuances about her and her life. How is she as a mother? How is she as a wife, right? Like, how are her children? How are her husband? Or do you not really care? You're just kind of like, no, just like, go about it through the normal means. Like you can kind of just show it and then that's it, move on. Again, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it out of the way, so let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me a lot. We enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one.